Good morning, everyone. We are the 7th group to report our given topic, and welcome to our video discussion about development issues, limitations to growth, development goals, and AmBisyon Natin 2040. This is Triksha Faith Dagangon speaking, and I will be your first discussant for today. But first, let us have a recap about our last discussion. These are the terms we have learned from our previous reporters. First, global mobility, where people are moving from one place to another, country to country for various reasons but mainly to find work or employment. Global city, a city generally considered to be an important mode in the global economic system. Demography, study of statistics such as birth, death, income, or incidence of disease. Population, group of individuals of the same species that inhabits the same area. Overpopulation, the condition of having too many people living in a certain area. Okay, so let us now start with our discussion. Since we have been talking about globalization, development, growth, and things related to that, several questions might have popped up at the back of your heads. Questions like, what hinders us from achieving development? Since we have been chasing development for years and years now, nga naman jud nga dili nato siya ma-achieve, or what keeps us from achieving it? Second question, which areas of our country is subject to development, or which aspect do we have to improve in order to achieve development? Third, and a very interesting question, is there a limit to growth? Lastly, does the Philippines have a long-term vision to achieve development? So these questions would be answered all throughout our discussion. Now let me introduce to you our first topic, development issues. So development issues typically refer to challenges or problems encountered in the process of creating or improving something. These are basically obstacles that our country is facing in our quest to development. This discussion would highlight the issues that our country needs to focus if we truly want development. So these are the areas of our country that is mostly affected by development issues. First would be our economy, second, our education, third, our governance, fourth, society, and fifth, environment. So we will discuss this one by one, starting with economy. So by now, I would assume that everyone already know what an economy is, right? It is the wealth and resources of a country, especially the production and consumption of goods and services. So let me read to you first the importance of our economy to somehow realize that it has a big role in achieving development, and para mas ma-acknowledge na to on why we need to fix the problems that our economy is facing. So, when economies grow, states can tax that revenue and gain the capacity and resources needed to provide the public goods and services that their citizens need, like healthcare, education, social protection, and basic public services. Okay, so let us now proceed with the development issues that our economy is facing. So, first would be, of course, poverty. So poverty has been a significant obstacle to our economic development. Like when it's the time where you realize that you are not privileged enough to afford the things that you want. So many of us siguro have been introduced to poverty at a very young age, no? It is evident, very evident and common everywhere in our country, even siguro sa atong mga wallets. And it just shows that poverty is the biggest enemy of our economy. Now, there are a lot of contributors to poverty, but let me cite two of the major contributors. First would be income inequality, where a significant portion of our population is experiencing disparities in income distribution. So the simplest way to define income inequality for me would be to mention the blue-collar workers and white-collar workers. So blue-collar workers are those who exert so much effort or physical efforts but are paid less. So white-collar workers are professionals who does not really exert so much physical effort but is paid more. So a little trivia. In In many countries like Switzerland, construction workers are paid more because they appreciate and they know how physically tiring and dangerous this type of occupations are. Second major contributor to poverty would be unemployment or underutilization of human resources and a lack of productive employment opportunities. Maglisod man gani og pangita og trabaho ang degree, unsa na lang ang wala, diba? So this is the reason why many of our countrymen opt to go abroad, find opportunities abroad. Kaya mas daghan jud og opportunities dito compared diri sa Philippines. So another economic development issue is infrastructure deficiency. In economy, this issue represents our poor transportation, like ang atong traffic and kaning mga guba na roads, and communication networks and power interruptions. So there are kaning work from home workers nga ga-rely jud sa ato ang internet and sa electricity. So this can greatly hinder productivity and limit the overall efficiency of our economic activities. Next would be corruption. So this would be discussed actually sa kaning another topic, which is governance, but corruption has a big impact also sa atong economy. It diverts resources away from essential public services and fostering an environment of unfair competition. This is where the poor becomes poorer and the rich becomes richer. So let us now proceed to another subtopic, which would be education. So education is the imparting and acquiring of knowledge. So for its importance, it helps a person to get knowledge and improve confidence in life. It can help you improve your career and your personal growth. An educated person can become a great citizen in society, hopefully. It helps you to take the right decisions. So first development issue that our education is facing would be its accessibility. So limited access, particularly in remote or economically deprived areas, can deprive individuals of educational opportunities, hindering overall development. So makita man siguro nato sa TV no nga there are children who are walking kilometers just to get education. So we are swerte na dili na ta mag-walk padulong sa eskwelahan. Because there are people who wants to acquire knowledge but cannot because of their kanang financial status sa life and layo po ang school sa ilaha. Another would be teaching quality. So insufficiently trained or unmotivated teachers can compromise the delivery of quality education, impacting students' learning outcomes. So this is why we need teachers who are passionate about teaching. Especially kaning sa mga remote areas, no? Like we have discussed earlier. I mean, not only passionate but also compassionate about these people nga gusto maka-acquire og knowledge but cannot. Kaya daghan teachers nga if ma-assign sila sa mga remote areas, muundang sila kay dili nila kaya. But if a teacher is really passionate about what she is doing, then many people would be granted with education, and of course with the help of our government. Next would be gender disparities or unequal access and opportunities for education between males and females. So I don't think we are still experiencing this because we are now enjoying the privilege of kaning gender equality. So next is infrastructure deficiency, school facilities, lack of classrooms, proper sanitation, and technology. So fifth would be relevance of curriculum. First are outdated learning materials. This may limit the knowledge of learners. Second is irrelevant curricula. So we are taking kaning courses nga dili related sa atong program. So I hope the government would look into it because it would impede our economic development. Last development issue for education would be education financing. So inadequate funding for education can result in a lack of resources for schools, leading to decline in educational quality and accessibility.
Good day, everyone. I am Cyril Jane L. and I'll be delving into the topic of developmental issues in governance, society, and environment. Let's explore how these factors intertwine and impact our country's or world's future. Governance, society, and environment serves as part of the beating heart of progress and development. It is a trade, forms a dynamic nexus where policies, social behaviors, and environmental stewardship converge to shape the trajectory of our collective advancement. Effective governance establishes policies and regulations that shape societal behavior and impact environmental practices. Society's action in turn influence governance while directly affecting the environment. Imagine a community garden as a simple yet powerful scenario. Governance is akin to the garden's rules and regulation, outlining what can be planted, when to water, and how to manage pests. Society comprises the gardeners, each contributing their efforts, sharing knowledge, and collectively tending to the garden. The environment is the soil, air, and sunlight that supports the garden's growth. When governance encourages sustainable practices and community involvement, society actively participates, cultivating diverse crops while respecting the environment. As a result, the garden flourishes, yielding healthy produce, fostering a sense of togetherness, and demonstrating how the harmonious collaboration of governance, society, and the environment can lead to collective advancement within a small, shared space. So now we will be talking about the developmental issues in governance. So what is governance? Governance is the act of or process of governing or overseeing the control and direction of something. So here are some problems and challenges in governance. First is corruption. Second, lack of transparency. Third, weak institution. And lastly, ineffective policies. So what is corruption? Corruption is the misuse of the public office for private gain, or it is the abuse of power for private gain. Wide-ranging impact of corruption could result in myriads of outcomes, like inadequate infrastructure, dangerous infrastructure, displacement of people, damage to the environment, reduced spending in infrastructure, reduced public expenditure, and reduced foreign investment. Lack of transparency. Lack of transparency happens when information regarding government actions, policy, and decision-making processes is not easily accessible to the public, which lead to mistrust and reduced accountability. Weak institution. When government institutions lack the necessary resources, skills, and infrastructure to perform their function effectively. Ineffective policy involves or happen when legal framework is not applied consistently and fairly. This issue can significantly impede development by fostering inefficiency, hindering the economic growth, and eroding trust in institutions. So now let's proceed to the challenges in the society. First is the poverty. You can see poverty everywhere in the world. Poverty is when families don't have enough resources for a decent standard of living. It can lead to not having enough food, living in unsafe conditions, or not being able to access good education or health care. Next is inequality. Not everyone has the same opportunities. Some students might have access to better resources, technology, or support than others. Inequality is also show up in how people are treated based on their background, race, or economic status. This can affect everything from the chances of getting a good education to finding a job in the future. Next is healthcare. The problem in healthcare is not everyone can easily see a doctor when they are sick. Some families struggle to afford medical care or live in places where good healthcare is hard to find. This affects how healthy people can be and how quickly they recover from illness. An example of a place where good healthcare is hard to find is when you are in a remote rural area. There is no doctors there, or there is no talented doctor there. You can hardly find them there. And then we can also see some families that struggles financially to afford good medical care. Next is education. Education is like the key to many doors because education is the key to success. But not everyone has the same quality of education. Some school might not have enough books, good teachers, or the latest technology. This can create a gap between those who have a great education and those who don't, affecting opportunities later in life. So those who have great education will be flexible anywhere they are, and they got a lot of opportunities compared to those who don't have the good education. So next, let's talk about environmental challenges which significantly impact global development. First is climate change. Climate change is very popular or the very popular or very common or very threatening issue on our environment. Climate change is driven by greenhouse gas emission, which lead to extreme weather events, rising sea levels, and altered ecosystem impacting agricultures and livelihood. Like how severe storm cause damage to infrastructure, power outages, and increased insurance costs. And also how rising of sea level affect local business like beach resort, fisheries, and tourism. Next is pollution. Pollution is encompassing air, water, and soil contamination that possess health risk, impair ecosystem, and affect biodiversity. Related to a student reducing outdoor activities due to poor air quality. Health issues like asthma and its impact on productivity, healthcare costs, and missed school days. Deforestation. Deforestation is due to the agriculture expansion and logging. It reduces carbon sinks, disrupt habitats, and intensify climate change. And next is the resource depletion, including water scarcity, overfishing, and mineral exhaustion threaten sustainable development affecting industry, economies, and human well-being. Like how water scarcity happens in an area affected by droughts, leading to high water bills, reduced agricultural productivity, and potential conflict over limited resources. Let's relate it to those places with the livelihood is more on growing rice or palay. They need a water irrigation. So when droughts came, they will experience a water scarcity source. So now let's talk about the strategies and initiatives in addressing those issues or challenges. First, let's talk about the strategies and initiatives in addressing governance challenges. So first, let's talk about transparency and accountability. It is by implementing transparent processes and ensuring accountability within institutions to reduce corruptions and ensure public trust. Policy reforms. It is the continuous assessment and reform of policies to align with the current needs, technological advancement, and societal changes. Strengthening legal frameworks. Developing and enforcing law that support and protect the public interest, ensuring fair and just practices within the system. International cooperation. By collaborating with international organizations and other nations to learn from best practices, share knowledge, and implement effective governance model. Technology integration. It is by leveraging technology to streamline processes, increasing efficiency, and enhance transparency in government operation. And last is the promoting rule of law. Upholding the rule of law and ensuring that laws are consistently and fairly applied across all sectors of society. The next is the initiatives and strategies in addressing societal challenges. First is the universal healthcare. It is by implementing policies for accessible and affordable healthcare. Technology integration. By leveraging technology for telemedicine, health apps, and data analytics to improve patient care and management. Health education. Promoting health literacy and awareness to empower individuals to make informed health choices, like how we have a mental health awareness and HIV awareness lectures in school. Then next, let's move on to education. Quality education access. It is by ensuring access to quality education for all, regardless of socio-economic background. Then next is the teacher training and support. Investing in professional development for educators and providing resources for effective teaching. Then technology integration. By implementing technology for remote learning, improving accessibility and flexibility. Then let's move on to the reduction or reducing inequalities. First is economic policy. By implementing policies to bridge the income gap and support a living wage, and also reviewing and amending laws and policies that perpetuate inequalities. Next is empowerment initiatives. It is by encouraging diverse hiring practices and fostering inclusive workplace, and also offering support programs, job training, and access to resources for underprivileged communities. Then next, let's move on to initiative and strategies in solving or addressing environmental challenges. First is conservation. First is habitat preservation. So preserving or protecting the natural habitat to conserve biodiversity and the ecosystem. Next is reforestation and afforestation. So it is about planting trees and restoring forests to combat deforestation and mitigate the climate change. Then next also is wildlife conservation, by implementing measures to protect endangered species and prevent their extinction. Water conservation, promoting responsible use, reducing waste, and investing in water-saving technologies. The next is waste management. So waste management is very important because waste management bring a lot or had a huge impact on pollution, encouraging recycle, composting, and reducing single-use plastic to minimize waste generation. And next is the renewable energy, the use of renewable energy like solar energy, wind energy, hydropower energy, bioenergy, geothermal energy. And next is the sustainable practices like circular economy, green transportation, encouraging public transportation, cycling, and electronic vehicle to reduce emission, because the smoke from those vehicles are one of the cause of the air pollution. Then, sustainable agriculture, implementing organic farming practices, reducing chemical use, and promoting regenerative agriculture. Then next is green building. So constructing energy efficient and environmentally friendly building with low carbon footprints. Education and advocacy. So raising awareness about environmental issues and advocating sustainable lifestyles and policy. So those initiatives mentioned above collectively contribute to mitigating climate change, conserving natural resources, and fostering a more sustainable relationship between human activities and the environment. So next is the importance of holistic development, or being holistic in addressing those challenges or issues. What is holistic development? So it refers to a comprehensive approach that considers multiple facets beyond just economic growth. So we will not just focus on the economic growth. So the interdependence of those or various aspects and seek to achieve a balance and all-encompassing advancement. So first is the interconnectedness of challenges. So challenges in governance, society, and environment are deeply intertwined. Environmental degradation affects societal well-being, and the governance plays a role in shaping policies to address this issue. And next is the global impact. So those issue has a global impact, like how the issue on climate change, resource depletion, and social inequality have global implications. They transcend national boundaries, affecting communities worldwide. And next is the long-term sustainability. So for long-term sustainability is the long-term solution. It is the effort to promote adaptive strategies that can respond to changing conditions and evolving challenges, ensuring the ability to address unforeseen issues in future. Next is the innovation and resource optimization. Innovative solution is by pooling diverse knowledge, resources, and perspective often lead to more innovative solutions. So it says that by pooling diverse or different knowledges from different people perspective often lead to a more innovative solution. Resource optimization. So when you say resource optimization, it minimizes redundant effort and optimizes the use of resources, maximizing the impact of initiatives while reducing waste and duplication. And lastly, ethical and moral imperative. So ethical and moral imperative is about ethical consideration. It's about ethical responsibility towards planet and its inhabitant. We need to be ethical responsible to our action towards the environment, government, and to the society. And the next is a social justice and equity, to promote fair and just societies, ensuring that the benefit of development are shared equitably among all communities.